Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Raelynn Blackwell, and I'm a senior manager on the corporate social responsibility team. And today I am joined by Olabisi Boyle, Vice President of Product Planning and Mobility Strategy for Hyundai Motor North America. Bisi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Well, and thank you for having us in front of a real fire for our Fireside Chat with some guests.
Yeah, they insisted.
I love it. Well, we can get right into it. So, Bisi, can you tell us what is your role in the company?
So I am the Vice President for Product and Mobility for Hyundai North America. And if I spell it out a little bit, on the product half of the product planning half of the journey, we have to plan so that we can, as we go into this electrification journey, that we can grow our EV growth in volume and sales and leadership from, say, where it was in 2018 to 1% to 7% to by 2030, 60%. And we also have to be chief product champions for our great products for both Hyundai and Genesis. And so on that standpoint, World Car of the Year for Ioniq 5, World Car of the Year for Ioniq 6, the NACTOY, North American Car of the Year for GV70 EV finalists, and for Ioniq 6 finalists. So that's part of our role. On the mobility side, we have that broken up into what we call MECA. So mobility, electrification, connectivity, and autonomous. And so what we want to do there is, when you do this EV journey thing, you have to make sure you look at it holistically. Not only do you have to have world-class, award-winning products, you also need to make sure that you look at how people will pay, own, charge these EVs going into the future. And so we've launched some programs like EV subscription for Evolve Plus. We've launched some things so that you can bring the eco-friendly life home, Hyundai Home. We've launched things in the car to improve your experience, so in-car payment. So we do product and mobility, and so that's what our team works on.
Wow, that's great. Thank you. Did you study this area at the university? And if not, how did your career evolve to bring you to this today?
I went to school. I have in engineering. I started out. I have a Bachelor of Science in Physics from Fordham University. I have a Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering from Columbia University in New York, and then I have a Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, also for Columbia University in New York. And so I always was taken by the math and the sciences. That was something I wanted to do pretty early. And when I went to college, I was pretty directed in that journey. But I do also have a creative side. So I liked the form. And so what I love about the auto industry and why I think I've gravitated here and excelled here is it brings, to me, it's the biggest integration of form and function. So you have the creativity where you have this streamlined, gorgeous design of the Ioniq 6 or our Genesis beautiful products like our GV70, our GV80, our G90. And then you have the function. So the AER, the 0 to 60, the stopping distance. And you only get that in the car industry where you have form and function. And so that's why I think I've really enjoyed being part of the auto industry.
That's fantastic. How has your background influenced who you are today?
So I grew up in Nigeria till I was 10 years old, and then grew up in Harlem after that in New York City. And I think the biggest influence came from my mother. The things that she taught me are sort of everyday continual learning. Every day you want to get a little bit better, day-to-day improvement. The appreciation of a good education, oh my God, did she stress that? And I do stress it with my son as well. And that it's core and fundamental as you go in life. Things that she's taught me that I've really needed to focus on: perseverance, resilience, to be courageous. And so I think those things have really influenced me in my. my career.
Those are all really great lessons. Thank you for sharing. who has had the most impact on you as an individual and as a leader? Or perhaps maybe that person is one and the same.
Right. So as a leader and as that person, my mom. And again, because this sort of, you need to always be positive. You need to be always courageous. You need to be resilient. You need to persevere. And I sum it up in a way that she taught me is you need to be built up so you are never worried about being puffed up. And what I mean about built up is you get that knowledge, you get that foundation, you come prepared, you understand what you're talking about. And when you're built up, you have this confidence that you don't have to worry about, oh, maybe you got that job, you don't know it, or you're insecure about it. You don't feel puffed up because you did the homework so that you were built up. And I think that's a big part of what she instilled in me. I think it's a big learning for leadership. And she was a great leader, and she was the biggest influence on my life.
That's fantastic. And that's a fantastic mantra to live by. So thank you. Thanks. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've confronted in your career, and how have you overcome them?
Yeah. So I would say being an underrepresented individual in a majority-centered space comes with significant challenges in addition to how difficult your job may or may not be. And when you are not part of the current clique, you can feel lonely, you can feel overwhelmed, and you can almost sometimes feel like you need to dim your light because other people might be upset about it. And the way you overcome this is back to those lessons from my mom. You come prepared, continuously positive, even though it seems tough, even though it seems arrows may be coming, you're like, you're going to remain positive, right? You're going to be courageous because you have to be sometimes. It's tough to be if you feel alone or whatever, you have to stand up, you have to be courageous. You have to be resilient. Yeah, it's tough, but you'll get through this. You'll learn from it. You'll grow. You'll be stronger. You'll be even more built up. And then you have to be built up and not puffed up. And then after a while, even if you're in one of those situations, not only can you withstand it and thrive, but you can help others.
Characteristics that you think every leader should have?
All right. Great communication skills, right? You have to be able to articulate a vision and persuade people to join you. And a lot of times objectives and stretch goals, they're difficult. And so you have to be able to describe them in such a way that even though they're difficult and challenging, people get that when we get to that vision of where we're talking about, that's a great place to be. And they're inspired to join you in that journey. A second thing is empathy. No receipts you deliver, no achievement you make, no success you have is done alone. It just isn't. It involves a lot of people supporting, a lot of people working hard. So you have to have empathy for their situation and what things they need to get to that place, right? Because no one does anything alone. No matter how successful you are, everyone has help, right? And so empathy for people. And then the third thing I think that's very important is character. Vision is great. Being brilliant is great if you are. But how you deploy that vision and that brilliant idea matters. And that is character. And so character, values matter. So I think good communication skills, empathy for others, good character are really key aspects of being a leader.
Absolutely. Those are all extremely important. And I love how you sort of wrapped character into the other two as well. So that's great. Given the breadth and depth of your position, I'm sure you're always busy. So I'm sure the audience would appreciate knowing How do you maintain balance in your life, and what do you do to de-stress?
So actually, I make these things called joy boards, right? And I'll probably get myself in trouble, but like during COVID, you'd be when we were all at home, and I'd be on my laptop and the cameras, you can see me on the camera, but I had like an easel off camera. And I'd have this 48 by 48 board, and I call them joy boards. And it's a 48 by 48 canvas, and I have all these sayings. I mentor a lot of people that I've said like over the 30 years of my career or whatever. And I would paste little sayings that I feel when you live your life this way, ultimately you're pretty joyful. So when you stand back from the 48 by 48 creation, you see a circle and it says joy in it. But when you come in close, you can read all these sayings, and they're sayings to do joy board, that I feel bring you joy ultimately. And so I made one, and then I liked it, and then I had to make another one because then I got all OCD about it. And then now I have like a more perfect joy board that has all the elements, all the little squares that make up the joy board, like perfectly the same size. And so I make joy boards, and it's fun.
That's great.
And I love my dogs, my animals that like insisted to be part of the Fireside Chat. I don't know if you can see okay, so Argos is there, but I shouldn't say it because now he'll get up and like act like a maniac. Okay, there's Argos. He's sleeping. They just need to be like touching you. And then Ebony insisted that this is Ebony. She's Ebony. So Ebony's 13, and then Argos is 9, and he's sleeping. Well, he's not sleeping because if the Amazon man comes, he's gonna like go crazy.
Well, I'm glad they're always welcome in our Fireside Chat, especially with a fire. I'm sure this is very good.
Yeah, they are happy because it's like really warm over here.
And I will say, I was able to see the joy boards right before our chat, and not only are they very inspiring, but they're beautiful. Thanks. So it definitely shows off your creative side as well, which you had talked about earlier. So,
thank you.
Wonderful. How do you stay motivated and inspired as a leader?
I do enjoy my job a lot, and I absolutely adore my team. They might not adore me, but I adore them. And then I love my dogs, and I insist and I make time for my family. I have an insane schedule. I go to Korea, I go to dealer meetings, I'm everywhere all the time. I'll present an auto show. I am doing my day-to-day work in my job, model reviews. But in the middle of that, I will make sure I have time to walk to the beach. I will make sure I have time to go visit my son in New York. I will make sure my husband and I get to go out for dinner. I will, you must, just like I schedule everything else, I also make sure I have appropriate time for my family, my animals, and even at work, sometimes you just have to stop and make time for teammates and your employees because things are stressful. And sometimes even though that meeting is there and you have to get the next thing done and they're expecting you to talk in the meeting, you have to be like, we're just gonna go over here and we're gonna talk about what's wrong and have a conversation. And you gotta make time for those things in your life. And then in general, you're not living Saturday to Saturday. You're kind of joyful all the time. Even if things are stressing, even if things are there as nuisances, they're not things that overwhelm you. Now, I had to learn that as I went in my career. Sometimes things would overwhelm me. But at this point, things might be nuisances and annoy me, but nothing really, gets me down, too much at all.
That's great. That's inspiring in itself. Mm-hmm. So thank you. And all really important lessons that I think everyone can appreciate and can resonate to.
Cool.
All right. Well, those are all of the questions, but I wanted to do a lightning round just so we can get to know you a little bit better.
Maybe the dogs can answer.
They might know the answers too. What is your favorite city besides the one you live in?
So I'd actually put them in this. I have to say 3. I put them in this order. I'd say New York number 1, Paris number 2, Laguna Beach number 3.
Okay, those are all great cities. Favorite food?
Okay, I don't know if it's a food, but I'm kind of obsessed with it, and I'm a little OCD with it. is I make these salads. And the salads have to have very specific ingredients. So it has to be kale chopped up just right. It has to be red onions. It has to be red chili flakes. It has to be cilantro and tomatoes and Montemori aged cheddar cheese. It has to be 3 years. And it has to be sliced just right. And like last night I was coming back really late from CPG for, we all did a ride and drive product. You know, every car company has to have passion for product. And we got to drive it in a durability track on the winding road track. And on the way back, it was 3 hours back, coming back, I was dreaming of that salad. And I did not get back till 8 o'clock. And I walked in the house and I'm like, oh my God, I had made them the night before. And so, I ate my salad. So I'm sorry. It's not a favorite food, but it's my thing.
Hey, it's a food. It sounds delicious. So now I'm getting hungry too. Favorite movie?
Oh, so my favorite actor, and maybe y'all millennials and Gen Zs don't be knowing this, but my favorite actor is Sidney Poitier. And so my favorite movies are To Sir with Love, and y'all can Google it. It's like really good. To Sir with Love, and then A Raisin in the Sun. Oh my God, the acting in that is amazing. And then In the Heat of the Night. Oh my God, they're all Sidney Poitier. They're all amazing.
I'll definitely have to check those out.
Yes, go Google them. They're good.
What about favorite holiday movie?
Okay, I don't know if it's a holiday movie, but Bruce Willis, Die Hard, the first one. It's at Christmas.
Okay. We'll count that as a holiday movie. Perfect. What about a TV show you're watching, or maybe one that you just currently finished?
Okay, especially because it's Christmas and maybe I'll have some days off. So I'm totally gonna binge something, and I'll binge, and my son will be home for Christmas. And so we'll binge this. My husband's into this as well. Okay, so number one is Breaking Bad. You gotta watch all the seasons, Breaking Bad. Number two is Better Call Saul, which is pretty much an extension of Breaking Bad. And then number three is The Wire. Oh my God, so good, so good. So
great. I'll definitely check those out too over the break. And what about, to finish this out, a favorite quote?
We'll all go through things in life, right? And so the thing that I can say is you must always fight to hold on to your peace, because that is how you'll always be on your best game. For life, for work, for family. Hold on to your peace and you'll be at your best to do the things for the people you love, the people you care about, the job you want, all of those things.
That's great, and a perfect way to close this out. So thank you all so much for tuning in. BZ, thank you so much for this Fireside Chat and for having us. It was great talking to you, and we look forward to the next one.
Well, thank you.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.